Hey, what's up guys? This is Rob. Welcome back to Rule of Two Review, and today, more weird decisions about Resident Evil Revelations 2. Okay, so I've already spent a little bit of time talking about Resident Evil Revelations 2 when it was first revealed, officially confirmed a couple of days ago, mostly talking about where I think the game could be going, what could be happening within, how it could act as a sequel to the original Revelations, and then also some of the release structure. You know, pretty disappointed and upset that it's not coming to the Wii U or the 3DS, where the original game first was released as an exclusive. So Capcom's doing some weird things there, but hey, it is what it is. I'm a huge, massive Resident Evil fan. I thought the original Revelations was great. I like even some of the worst Resident Evils. 5 and 6 I actually think are pretty good games. They're not great Resident Evil games, but they're good games, so I think that's why I give them at least that one pass. And so with Resident Evil Revelations 2, there's still a lot of mystery to be had, but today we got a really weird piece of information. Or dare I say, a really weird revelation about Resident Evil Revelations 2. See what I did there? Anyway, I think I'm funny sometimes. So the point is, today Capcom revealed that the game is actually going to release episodically. So yes, the game is coming out in parts as downloadable episodes for just a couple of bucks a piece, or of course you can also purchase the season pass for the game. Apparently it's going to be in 4 episodes, and they said they're going to release on a weekly basis. Let me actually pull the article back up and kind of get the right kind of quote. The campaign will be broken up into 4 episodes that will come out at weekly intervals. So I don't know if that means they're literally going to come out 4 episodes over 4 weeks, or if it's 4 episodes over a couple of weeks in between. I mean, we just don't really know exactly what that window or release structure will be completely, but it definitely is giving us an idea overall of what's going on. So yeah, that's basically what they're doing. They're not releasing it as one full game. It's going to be 4 weekly episodes, a couple of hours apiece. They do say that there will be hours of gameplay, quote unquote, hours of gameplay for each episode, and they are going to be ending them, as you could kind of imagine, on dramatic cliffhangers. Another exact quote: dramatic cliffhangers, hours of content for each episode. So that's what's going on. I myself did not see this coming. I can't imagine many people did. It certainly makes you feel like they're kind of feeling the influence of The Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead games, which, as I've talked about before on Rule of Two Review, are goddamn amazing. I think those games are wonderful. But I also feel like they sort of lend themselves more to the episodic experience because of how story and character-centric that series is. Resident Evil, while yes, I mean character-centric in its own way, it's not that same kind of experience. It's just as much about the zombies and the fighting and the shooting and the scares and the horror. The Walking Dead games are not about that at all whatsoever. Yes, there are zombies, but they're not action games. If you haven't played them, you don't really understand. But they're just not the same experiences. But nonetheless, it certainly seems like that's kind of what Capcom has been inspired by, and that's what they're trying to do. So, you know, 4 weekly episodic releases for Resident Evil Revelations 2. Sometime after they all conclude, they're going to release a retail disc. So there's, you know, a couple of things that come to mind when I first read this. First and foremost, my knee-jerk reaction was to not be excited, and I'm still not excited overall. I don't love that they're doing this. I would rather have a full $60 retail experience. You know, I would like a 15 or 20 hour Resident Evil Revelations game. That's what I would want. Even though I'm upset that so far we haven't gotten a release for the Wii U and or the 3DS, I still want to play the game, and so it's like I'll buy it for, you know, any one of the other platforms. One of the other next 2 platforms. I would only want to go next gen, since there's no 3DS version, I should say. So I'm still going to be playing the game. I would rather have it be, like I said, a fully fledged $60 game, you know, and not because I love paying $60, but because I think a $60 game signifies that it should be a complete release, a very long, you know, drawn out experience. I want, like I said, a 10, 15, 20 hour game or story out of my Resident Evil games, including Revelations 2. What they're doing now is they're doing 4 episodes, and they are priced at $5.99 each, or you can get the full. This is the weird thing: $5.99 each, or apparently says players can buy the season pass for $24.99. And by the way, I did the math on that, and that doesn't really make much sense, because if you buy 4 $5.99 games, that's going to be $23.96. Yet the season pass for all 4 is $24.99, $1.03 more. Kind of weird, because I always was under the impression that one of the main purchases for the season pass is to save a little bit of money on the full experience. In fact, I think every previous season pass has been that way. And as someone who bought all of The Walking Dead Season 1, Wolf Among Us Season 1, and Walking Dead Season 2 that way, I can tell you that I was like $3 or $5 total in purchasing them that way, as opposed to buying them all individually. And I think other games with other DLC and stuff, it's the same way. However, for some other weird-ass reason, the way Capcom is handling Revelations 2 is it seems to be more to buy the season pass, and I don't get that. I do get that the other benefit is that you already have the games downloaded. You don't have to go through the process of signing in and downloading and waiting for each episode to download as they release. So there's like the convenience factor. And that is cool, but I still don't understand why the season pass seems to be more. Maybe it's just a mistake and it hasn't been translated right, and it'll actually turn out to still be less and a little. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So that's kind of the weird thing going on there. So now I want to get into the nitty-gritty of the decision and what it could mean for the next Resident Evil game to be the first ever episodically released Resident Evil. Like I was saying, they definitely seem inspired by Telltale and the way other things, games like Broken Age and stuff have been coming out. The episodic kind of release for some things is certainly a decent model for the right kind of game. I won't deny it. Typically, I wouldn't like that kind of thing, but like I said, Telltale has helped teach me that the right kind of game can greatly benefit from it. So, I get where they're coming from there. I think that what happens is what we're seeing is that they're probably making a smaller, shorter experience out of this Revelations game, which I don't really know why. When you look at how well the original Revelations sold, at least again on Nintendo platforms, as people have brought up, they sold best on the Nintendo platforms, not quite as well on the PS3 and 360, but they did sell well overall. They definitely sold probably over 1.5 million copies total. So that's a pretty successful game, and it also reviewed very, very well. That 3DS version was considered to be one of the best Resident Evils in a long time. And as a long-time Resident Evil fan, I will completely agree. I've been playing since the original 96 PlayStation 1 release, and while Revelations isn't the best, it is a very good game, and especially of recent memory in the recent Resident Evil video game universe, it's one of the best. So I don't know why they felt they wanted to kind of turn it into this kind of experience. I certainly hope that it doesn't play differently. I don't want them to all of a sudden make Resident Evil like a more dramatic thing and try to add that kind of, flair and emotion that the Telltale stuff does have. I want it to still be a scary Resident Evil game. I hope it's less action and more scares. Even if it is action, I still want it to feel, at the very worst, like Resident Evil 5. I mean, still make it feel Resident Evil-like. We just don't know what's going on story-wise. We don't know what's going on setting-wise, what characters are going to be involved. I hope that we get, some of the previous, I would think Claire Redfield is probably almost all but guaranteed. That's kind of my feeling. But I don't know. I just don't even know. I don't even want to guess on that right now. We just know these few details. And so like I said, my knee-jerk reaction was to be kind of disappointed, because this just isn't how I want most games, certain kind of games that I play. Resident Evil is a game that I really care about, so I don't want it to be this way. But there's a level of kind of still understanding where they're coming from. I should preface that, provided once we start getting information about the game, provided it doesn't completely turn me off, if it still looks like a decent actual Resident Evil game, I'll play it even though it's this downloadable BS. I'll probably, or wait for the retail version. That's honestly probably what I'm going to do. So I'll still play it. But what's interesting is, some of the benefits kind of started to pop into my head after thinking about this for a couple of hours. What I honestly think has happened here is, we know that Capcom is a company that really has great IPs and can make really great games, but has been struggling financially for quite a while. And that's slowly been getting better over the last year or so, I should say. But overall, the last couple of years, they've really been struggling financially. And what I would have to think is that this structure is probably much cheaper for them. I feel like not making this, an $100 million budget, brand new next gen Resident Evil experience that they're going to sell for $60 in a store, they can probably spend a fraction of that, release this episodically, and maximize their profits. Because if they sell millions of these episodes at $5.99 a piece, I bet they will make back more profit due to the smaller budget than if they made it this $100 million production and sold $60 retail copies. I think that there's a probably less risk, greater return happening here. And although I still don't really care, at the same time I do, because what I think it could be is maybe in the interim, well, Capcom needs to find ways to maximize profits for several years and really garner great returns over and over again. This might be something that they have to do as a one-off. I would imagine that Resident Evil 7 would never be treated this way. Any of the mainline Resident Evil games, I don't think they would ever do this. The Revelations games are kind of spin-offs, so it's sort of easier to swallow them experimenting with the formula and the release structure on something that's just a spin-off, and especially if it's something that they do just the one time, because it can help them make back a lot of the money they've been struggling to keep the last couple of years, and that can help feed into other games that they make, Street Fighter, a new Mega Man, heaven forbid, the next Resident Evil, all that kind of stuff, Monster Hunter, all these great games that they do still make. If it can help them gain back more profits and be more profitable as a company, that can help make future games better, including future Resident Evil games. So I don't know if that really makes sense to anybody, but that's just one of the things that popped into my head. I would just kind of wonder if this is really just something they're doing temporarily to experiment, because I'm willing to bet they can make way more money because they're going to spend less money to make this game. So what really, what the main takeaway from that, though, is we don't want that to mean that the game is going to be of less quality. We don't want the game to be bad, and to have you guys, excuse me, and to have you guys, Capcom, sacrifice on the production and the creation of the game just because you're making it cheaper. If you're going to save money on it, I mean, it is what it is. I'll tell you what, as controversial as the whole episodic thing is, like I said, if you make this a great game and you just knock it out of the park, you will be forgiven. At the end of the day, that is the one consistent thing about gamers, is if it's good, we're going to be okay with it. That's all we want, is quality. And especially with something as time-tested as Resident Evil, and that so many people and fans like myself hold so close to their hearts, if you deliver it the way it's supposed to be, regardless of the episodic BS, that's going to be fine. And hey, if I can just have to wait a couple of months after it releases, which by the way is right now set for early 2015, they say. So if, the game releases over the course of a month, and then a couple of months after that, the retail disc comes out, and I only have to pay 30 or 40 bucks for that, hey, if it's great and I get to spend a little bit less money, then I probably still will be okay, which is why, even though, like I said, my knee-jerk reaction was not to love this idea, I feel like there's still the potential for this whole thing to really work out in the favor of the game and in favor of the gamers. What I really want, god damn it, Capcom, is to just release this shit on the 3DS and the Wii U. Like I said in my last video about this game, and I'll link it below for you guys, I would buy both versions. You will get double the profit from me, double the purchase from one person if you release this on Nintendo platforms. At the bare minimum, just pick one of them. Fuck, I mean, put it on the Wii U. Make a next-gen version of this on the Wii U. You got a goddamn gamepad at your disposal. You did a really good job with the Wii U version of Revelations. So, make that gamepad really badass for Revelations 2, I'll buy it. I'll happily buy it. I'll buy 2 fucking season passes. I'll buy 2 retail copies. I don't care. I'll buy it on the Wii U and the 3DS. I'm happy to do so, If that doesn't end up happening, then that's fine, and I'll probably buy, the PS4 version or what have you. Like I said, unless the game really looks drastically, devastatingly different and worse than your average Resident Evil game, then I'm going to buy it. If it looks that bad, then no, I won't support it, especially because it's episodic. But if you show me that it's going to be good regardless, and I don't care that it'll be episodic, I'll still buy it, probably on the retail disc, but that's definitely what I'm going to do. But I don't know, yeah, so that's kind of a lot of my initial thoughts. I guess I sort of had more to say on the topic than I anticipated, but that's what's going on with Revelations 2 so far. Those are my thoughts. It's not the greatest thing. It's a weird-ass decision, but hey, at this point, I'm just going to, I don't want to say give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to play the wait-and-see game, and I'm still right now plan on playing it unless I see any reason to have to pass it up. But right now, Resident Evil Revelations, early 2015, it's coming out in 4 different downloadable episodes. And that's it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like what I'm doing, please feel free to subscribe to Rule of 2 Review. Like and share the video and your comments and your thoughts about Revelations 2 below. Follow the links down below for the Facebook page and also the Twitter for Rule of 2 Review, both of which I run and update frequently. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you guys on the next video.